Hi, my question's a little more basic. Ever since I've read the books, I've always wondered this, so I'm going to ask it because I have a chance. Gwen, I realize it's a female name, but in the books, the cat's referred to as both a male and a female. So I was just wondering, what is the gender?
Okay, here you go. When I wrote The Crystal Shard, from the very beginning, and if you've ever read the short story Guinevere, which is in the collected stories that came out last year, it's an anthology with all the short stories I ever wrote in the Forgotten Realms. Guinevere was female from the beginning, in my mind. When I put the rough draft of The Crystal Shard in, it was in October of 1987. Okay, feeling old a little bit, yeah.
I wasn't born.
The first draft of The Crystal Shard went in. Guinevere was female. They said, no, the Panther has to be gender neutral, so take out all references. I said, why? They said, because that's the way it is. It's a magic item. I said, no, it's not. They said, yeah, okay, whatever. So I took out all references, it became it. Then the book went to copy editing, and the book came out in February of the following year. So from October, it got rewritten, the little rewrites I had to do, which included adding Caddy Bree, by the way. Then February of '88, so just a couple of months later, the book came out. So that was the last I saw of the book. A copy editor started referring to Gwen in places as him. I had nothing to do with that. It makes me crazy. Guinevere is female. The name is Welsh and refers to Arthur's queen, Guinevere. Yep. The white shadow, only I had the black shadow with Guinevere. That's where it comes from. It comes right from those amazing Mary Stuart books, The Crystal Cave, The Hollow Hills, The Last Enchantment, The Wicked Day. That's where that name comes from. Female. Absolutely. These things happen. Copy editors do things. People think, authors, a lot of times I read my books and I go, oh my God, I didn't write that. Certain places you'll see where a copy editor
made it
correct and took out all the poetic license. And I can pick it up like that. And I go and look at my manuscript and sure enough, somebody changed it. That happens to authors.
Word of advice, if any of you want to copy edit, if it gets the point across, it's correct.
That's right.
Even if grammatically it's not.
Yep.
If you can understand what it means,
it works. Does it work? That's the only thing a copy editor should ask, but they ask more than that. Yep.
So how long till Gwen gets her own spin-off series?
I've been writing one for years.
Anyone reading the books right now will tell you that's problematic. But
Good afternoon. I first encountered the Forgotten Realms through one of the Harper novels,
sure.
Crypt of the Shadow King by Mark Anthony.
Yep.
And I didn't realize it was based off a campaign series, and I was like 12 years old, so I started buying anything with Forgotten Realms to get my hands on, including the old gray box I still have buried somewhere.
Awesome box.
First edition was good. Second, better in my mind. Third, 3.5 was what I would call almost perfect. I got the fourth edition, and throwing it to the wall wasn't good enough the way I looked at it. Regarding what you said about all the authors taking the helm with fifth edition, I just want to say from a lot of fans back home, thank you very much. But my question is, it's sort of an argument that me and a friend have had the last 10 years. You wrote Crystal Shard first, then Drizzt became popular, then you sort of went back in time, wrote his backstory with the Dark Elf trilogy. Then you put it together afterwards, and we're wondering, you as the one who created them, what order should you read them in?
You know, I really think that for somebody who's never picked it up at this point, with you know, 30+ books ahead of you if you want to take the journey, and more coming, I would start with Homeland. And the only reason I say that is because I think that gives you a truer sense of where the story will go in terms of that character. I go back and forth on this all the time. A lot of people say you should write them in the order they were written, read them in the order they were written and published, not the chronological order. But to me, it doesn't matter. I would say either Crystal Shard or Homeland works. But I kind of lean toward Homeland, mostly because I find that when people read Homeland, they're going to know right then and there whether they want to read this series or don't. I've felt that way for a long time. Homeland's still probably one of my one or two favorite Drizzt books ever.
I agree with him.
If that matters. Personally. Thank you very much, sir.
Hey. So we've only got enough time for a couple more questions, and I apologize for those who don't get yours asked, but we are quickly running out of time here, so we've got a couple more questions left.
I'd just like to start with saying your books are what kept me reading after high school. just hands down, I can read anything else, but I always go back to your books, and I always will. So thank you for keeping writing them. The question I have, in Ghost King, we were introduced to Catterley's children, and they were obviously adventurers, and it kind of set the stage for their own adventures. Do you have any plans on visiting either them or their descendants down the road?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. If you go from Ghost King to where the realms are now, Catterley's children have grown old and died, unless magic kept them alive. So that's problematic. And right now, Wizards of the Coast wants to go forward because we're using the novels to reintroduce people to the Forgotten Realms. There's another book I want to write. I've wanted to write it for 5 or 6 years now. It's a book about Zaknafein and Jarlaxle back in Menzoberranzan before Drizzt was even born. But I can't do it right now. So there's a lot of things I want to do. There's a lot. And that's one of the reasons why, by the way, doing Stone of Tomorrow was so much fun for me. Because there was a story that I wanted to tell. I didn't realize what had happened to Drizzt between Halfling's Gem and Legacy either. So I wanted to go back to that too. So things like that worked out really well. So it's a possibility. Right now, it's not on the table.
Okay, thank you.
It was fun doing it though.
Hi, I have to say I love the depth of the books from the whole Drizzt series and how you bring the ups and downs to the whole thing. But my question relates to the Crimson Shadow series.
Yes.
Do you ever regret not writing a follow-up to the Crimson Shadow series earlier before things changed? Or do you have any plans of coming back with a new Crimson Shadow set around that time? Because the Crimson Shadow did come back, kind of reinvented himself. Do you have, like, with different characters?
What changed? There's 3 books, that's all.
But do you have any plans to go forward with it?
Yeah, here's the thing. I miss Oliver. Oliver DeBarrow's Highway Halfling. Probably my favorite, even above Pickles, sorry, favorite comic relief character ever. Oliver DeBarrow's is a cross between Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride and the little French guy on the wall in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Okay? And the thing about Oliver is he can't tell a joke. He has to say something that you go right by, and 3 pages later you go, what? And you groan. And that's when Oliver wins. Because that's the way he is. I love the character. Now, here's the thing. Crimson Shadow was supposed to be Demon Wars. Okay? True. I didn't have the time to write Demon Wars with the magic gemstones and all of that. I didn't have time to flesh out that world. So if you look at the map for the Crimson Shadow, it looks like England and northern France, so Great Britain and northern France, right?
Yeah.
If you look at the map for Demon Wars, it's here. Demon Wars is Nova Scotia, up to Labrador. That's what it is.
Yep.
Yes.
Except they turned Massachusetts into a desert. Sorry.
Everyone from Massachusetts has dreamed of doing something like that.
That's true. That's true. And so I've always lately I've had the idea of, well, if Oliver and Luthien are here and Demon Wars is here, yeah, that could happen. So yes. The short answer is yes. I have absolutely thought of going back to Demon Wars with Oliver and Luthien.
Okay.
Because I want to write Oliver again. Oliver rocks.
By the way,
thank
the type of jokes he's talking about Oliver making, true to life, that's his humor.
Don't believe a word he says.
All right, well, unfortunately, we have run out of time. I'm very, very sorry.
You just don't want to let women talk.
Just do it real quick, because it's the first one.
That's
Okay, you almost answered my question. Obviously, yes, the Demon Wars map is here.
Yes.
So does anybody south of the border get that?
Probably not. You know, we're America. We don't even know that there's a world outside of us.
Wait,
okay,
you mean
quick
Canada's
question.
not part of
why?
America?
Any reason why? Just because it's there?
I'll tell you why why the map is that.
Yeah, why is the map us?
True story.
Yeah.
Because I came here to a NovaCon 15 years ago, and I met a bunch of people from Labrador who were talking to me about caribou moss.
Oh.
And I met some incredible people here. This is true. I am not making this up.
No.
And
Good.
one of them's name was Mike Beaton, who used to, I think, he was one of the people helping run the con at the time, who also emailed me to apologize when he killed Drizzt in Baldur's Gate. And I told him I'd forgive him if he told me how to do it, which he did. Thank you, Mike. And that was when I decided Demon Wars was going to be set here, because I really love the stories of Labrador more than anything else. And plus, look, my mother was born, I thought in St. John, but I was wrong. But my mother was born in Nova Scotia.
Okay, thank you.
And depending what happens next month in our election, I may claim my Canadian citizenship, come back here.
Well, on that note, thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause for R.A. and Geno Salvatore. And Canada will be proud to have you no matter what.
That is a very nice hat. If a man walks down the street wearing that hat, you know he ain't afraid of nothing.